Oye, ¿te acuerdas todavía del español que te enseñé?
Un poquito, chin chin.
How does he know Spanish anyway? Yeah, Tasha. How does he know Spanish?
I don't know. He learned before we met.
When it comes to the storytelling within the Power universe, there are a lot of characters that emerge as enigmatic figures. I'm sure I'm not the only one who rewatches Power, and the more you rewatch it, the more you actually begin to question yourself, did I really know who Ghost was? In Power Book 2 Ghost, the same goes for characters like Effie and Noma, and of course there are other characters across the Power universe that are covered in similar layers of mystery and complexity, but those are just to name a few. So when we watch these characters episode after episode, season after season, we actually start to realize what lies on the surface is just a glimpse, and our initial perception just scratches the surface of who they truly are. That also goes for characters that also find themselves dead. Often we find that we begin to learn more about who they are when characters are sent to Power Hell, hence why you've heard me use the term beyond the grave. So with that being said, in the rest of this video we're going to be exploring a bit more of Raquel Thomas, who she is from what we know so far, some of the moves that she has made, as well as some moves that she could have made based on some logical theories, which will all come back to her speaking Spanish and her next move of taking out Juliana in Raising Kanan Season 3. Now, while the show Raising Kanan is of course centered on the origin story of Kanan Stark, Rock is actually the character that sits at the center of some shaky alliances, lies, blackmail, and manipulation. She loves power and control, and as we all know, she's not above lying to family and having them commit some heinous acts to protect those lies if it furthers her own self-interests. In Season 1, we learn that she was just 16 years of age when she used to roll with Defcon, but she slept with Detective Howard and had a son, Kanan Stark. For 15 years, she lied to Kanan, Howard, and the rest of the Thomas family, as well as the streets, that Kanan was Defcon's son, but that was only half the story. We also learned that back in the day she was also Howard's CI, which was a huge reveal. Rock was a snitch, and we all know what Kanan thinks of those. So it was actually no surprise when we saw Rock actually step to Howard and give him the location of Unique's re-up. It's probably information she used to give to Howard back in the day to get some wins, and it's just laying the foundation to show us exactly who we were dealing with. Rock wasn't afraid to play dirty to win. Not only was she willing to play dirty to win, she was also someone who was willing to go to great lengths to protect her secret at all and any cost. She lied to Kanan and the rest of the Thomas family about who Kanan's father was and how Detective Howard was a threat. So with that being said, she lied and manipulated Kanan in pulling the trigger, all while setting up Unique to take the fall. Something which I don't think Unique will have forgotten, by the way. They may have been kicking it for a few weeks, but shit like what Rock has done to him in the past by fucking with his re-up and pinning Howard shooting on him, I don't think you can forget something like that, which is why I think we need to pay closer attention to this relationship as we now see it. Now, her manipulation and control doesn't just stop at Kanan and Unique, it also extends to Uncle Lou. In Season 2, she made a deal with Crown behind Lou's back to take Crown's share of Bulletproof Records because she was looking for a way to clean her cash, something Lou wanted to keep clean and away from the street game. But Rock is someone who wants control over everything, whether it be a son, a street operation, to Lou's business. So those are just a few moves that we've seen from Rock in the first 2 seasons, and there are others like D-Wiz, but all of them do make you wonder, what else could she have done in the past? If she was capable of manipulating her son to killing his own father, all while framing Unique, all while she made sure she had an airtight alibi, what else has she done to protect herself and get to the position she found herself in 1991? Defcon was supposed to be the original kingpin in the streets. Everybody knew who Defcon was, from Detective Howard, Unique, all the way to Deina at Kanan's school. But let's not forget, Rock was Howard's CI when Defcon was in charge. Add in the fact that she was sleeping with Howard and how we've seen Rock give him information on Unique's re-up, you do have to wonder, what information did Rock give Howard on Defcon? Is it beyond reasonable doubt to think she had something to do with Defcon going away? I do think it's highly likely. Hipost. He was the one who said to have really taught Rock the game, but he was set on fire for being a snitch, and so let's look at this logically. Who was Rock in the past and what has she done since she's been on our screens? We've learned that she was Howard's CI and she gave up Unique's re-up, so again, just like Defcon, is it beyond reasonable doubt to think that Hipost may not have snitched? Maybe it was Rock who set Hipost up to take the fall for something she did. Now, the reason why I felt it was important to lay the foundation that I did in this video was because it gives a lot more context to all of these scenarios, especially when it comes to Marvin's. With Marvin, it was said that he did do a bid in Elmira because he made some pretty reckless decisions.
Marvin, you ever think that maybe if you kept better secrets back in the day, you wouldn't have done that whole bid in Elmira?
I got set up.
He was said to have been taking product which he doesn't do anymore, but he was also selling out of his own home, which Rock knew was a huge no-go in the line of work that they were in. Now at the time, Marvin was said to be in charge of the operation, which he clearly wasn't capable of. Kenya also left Duke when she was a baby, so Duke also wasn't exactly in the best of hands with the state that Marvin was said to be in. So again, it goes back to the same point I raised before. Who had the most to gain by getting rid of Marvin if it was only for a short period? The answer is Rock. She gains full control over the operation, and she also gains control over Duke, who did move in with Aunt Rock when Marvin went inside. Now last but not least, Deina Harrison.
I put myself between you and your son. One thing you told me never to do.
Throughout seasons 1 and 2, it was quite clear that nobody was to get in between Rock and Kanan. She made it pretty clear whether it be to Marvin, Symphony, or Detective Howard. However, I do feel the same extended to Deina. Kanan was said to be head over heels for Deina, and Rock noticed that he was beginning to fall for this girl, in a world which he knows you can't have any distractions. Love can sometimes make you weak, make you blink, and take your eye off the ball, just like Rock said to Symphony towards the end of season 1. She was living in a bit of a fantasy world with Symphony, and it made her take her eye off the ball, which almost ended in Lou's death, and she couldn't afford the same to happen to Kanan. So with Rock making it clear that nobody gets in between her and her son, and with Deina being a distraction, could Rock also have got rid of Deina by calling child services? Now of course, she may not have done everything that we've just been through with Defcon, Hipost, Marvin and Deina Harrison, but would it surprise anybody that if she did do a few? After all, who knows what Rock's full backstory is?
But then that thing happened with your mom and dad.
There is a lot of history that we don't know when it comes to Rock, her mother and her father. Whether that's something they reveal, who knows, but I do think it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Now that brings me to Rock speaking Spanish, and the reason why we went through her history and her potential moves that she could have made is because it's clear we're still learning about who she is and what she's done in the past. She listened while Joaquin and Juliana spoke in Spanish, and stepped in when she felt like stepping in to set the record straight, and how she could understand every word that they were saying. So just when and how did Raquel learn Spanish? Let's not forget, it's not uncommon in the Power universe for characters to be bilingual. Angela taught Ghost when they were younger, Tariq studied Italian when he was at school, and we all saw how it came in use in both Power and Season 3 of Ghost. But when and how did Raquel learn Spanish? Did someone teach her when she was younger? Did she learn it when she was at school? And is it such a coincidence that the writers have started to introduce this part of her backstory in Season 3? I've been saying it for a while now, the writing and storytelling for Raising Kanan has a method to the madness, so to speak. The timeline makes sense, it's the most authentic Power and they've stayed true to the culture and a lot of what went down in the 90s, which I will break down in a lot more detail soon. Everything also serves a purpose or will serve a purpose later on, like D-Wiz's brother being introduced, so the same goes with Rock speaking Spanish. What's the backstory? Why now?
Sé exactamente con quién estoy tratando, Juliana. You're the bitch I used to buy Newports from.
Now Joaquin did chuckle a bit because he enjoyed the fact that Rock put Juliana in a place. I don't think he likes the fact that her cousin is getting way too big for her boots, and I really wouldn't be surprised if he actually didn't care when and if Rock does put an end to Juliana. There was a scene in the season trailer with Rock shooting someone with a silencer, and I initially thought it was a job for Stefano, but we all know Rock doesn't get her hands too dirty too often, bar a few occasions where she's had to. Before Juliana, you bet she will. She ain't gonna be asking Marvin to kill Juliana, that will definitely be Rock's kill and hers alone. So besides Rock speaking Spanish, I do think this scene set up for her to put an end to Juliana, and judging by Joaquin's reaction, I don't think he'll even care. Initially I thought if Rock kills Juliana, then it may upset Joaquin and the Colombians, and waging a war with the Colombians, she knows that's a death wish. But I don't think Joaquin even likes his cousin sister, so I think it's goodbye to Juliana sooner rather than later. But with that being said, that's a breakdown of the manipulative Rock, and it's also an eye-opener to tell us. Maybe we never truly know who some characters are. Her speaking Spanish could just be scratching the surface, and so I'm gonna ask the same question I previously asked about Ghost. Do we really know who Rock is? Her speaking Spanish, it definitely opens up more doors in regards to her backstory. So let me know your thoughts down below on her moves in the past, what else she could be potentially be hiding, and her moves for the future. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.